all that whole rave scene was a product of the Margaret Thatcher years, basically, all them years of repression, oppression. The 80s in England was shit. It was very capitalist, you know, yeah. She was trying to make everyone buy their houses, you know, the work thing, and there's nothing underground. Oh, it's just horrible. And that's why, so, you know, when the rave thing happened in '89, it was like, oh yeah, wicked, let's go.
One night, I'd be in a pub, and this guy would walk up to us and say, do you want to come to a party? And suddenly you'd find yourself in a room with 2,000 people of all cultures, all races, all styles, you know, suddenly dancing to this new acid house beat that's fresh from Chicago. It's no longer pop music. It's no longer the 3-minute sale, you know. It's actually a programmed voyage for the mind.
This is it.
And I was working in a PA hire shop. So each week people would come in and hiring their amps and PAs and stuff, and I would hear about all these different parties going on.
And for me, the ideal rave is like outside with a really big rig and all your friends on the dance floor. That is for me.
This acid party sort of thing turned into like a new wave of psychedelic. And that was the thing that really blew my head off. Why was this new electronic music so different from all the other electronic musics I'd heard before? The fact was it was just a drum machine and a bass line, and the way the bass line moved was completely different to anything I'd heard before. It wasn't moving in the sense of harmony and melody. It was going round on a loop. And that loop would change not in pitch, but in frequency. And that was something revolutionary for me anyway. Which is the most basic principle of all of this, is to clean yourself from a week at work. But after that, there are many levels to that. How far do you want to go with it? And that's where I saw Mark as such a great catalyst for all of that, because he was so clear about that.
There was a real buzz in the air, you know, about this kind of new place, but it was all very commercial. So the one thing that was missing was the connection with the free space, because there is no free space. Every single square centimetre is under control. It's very important to have these social centres where people can come and meet and network and exchange ideas, because without people doing that, no contact.
Mark, he had this kind of vision. He went off in this kind of mad trance for 9 days where he got completely spiralled by this cosmicness. And completely spiraled me and Simon and his brother Zander and then all the rest of everybody.
It's strange how it happened. I had this job in a printing place, and on the wall there was a picture of this fossil, which is a spiral ammonite, and I was just experimenting on this, you know, and going into infinity on the photograph and out and in. Suddenly this kind of very strange, you know, connection, this very strange sort of revelation, if you like, of this image and what it meant. All connecting. The spiral, the perfect image to connect through all points. Got a small sound system together and we began to put parties on.
And then after that, it was all, it was rave on, basically.
I go to this first ever SpiralTribe party, and it's like back, you know, this acid house music, you know. For me, being already a bit of a mushroom adept at that time, it was perfect. We're all just going, wow!
This mad, cosmic spiral trip would all be just totally spiraled. It's wicked with the music and everything else, you know, you're just going, yeah, we can change the world.
In hindsight, I think we were very utopian, you know what I mean? And that's the spirit of those times. Anything goes, anything can happen, and we're going to push the button, and why not revolution?
We let down all the barriers. We allowed it to have its own life. That was kind of difficult, you can imagine, but incredible at the same time. It was a very hard life, living on the road, doing the parties continually.
Each individual person starts to realise that it's less important to get caught on the material, and it's less important to get the career and the job and all these kind of things, and much more important to discover what you are. Just being free in thinking and dancing.
The first one was Longstock. It was the displaced Stonehenge.
They didn't want these people coming into Wiltshire and occupying the area around Stonehenge.
It became a spiritual realisation. We were out in the nature, in the environment, and we were going to continue to whatever end. We realised that we would not return to the lives that we were living the day before. That was a key moment of no return. Wake up.
Breach the Peace, but I think the video for that was kind of just a compilation of you know, festivals and parties and people and stuff. There was with Forward the Revolution, there was it's had a bit of a more of a direction, and we wanted to kind of have the tribe, and we had a minibus, and we just drove around all these places in London and just filmed people. I suppose when I wrote the lyrics, I didn't think about writing them, they just came. And it all kind of happened. I think the first bit, I kind of stole a bit from American Indian writing. You know, all things are connected. All things are connected, this we know. Now is the time to let yourself grow. To free mankind from the negative force. Let's see a positive influence. Our brothers and sisters alike, that two share a planet. Sometimes I think of the lyrics now and they kind of mean more to me now than they did then. But I definitely had a kind of conflict because SpiralTribe was faceless, and all of a sudden there was a voice on the record, and I felt quite uncomfortable with the attention that brought, because I felt it was going against the facelessness and ego.
You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future. You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future. You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future. You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future. You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future. You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future. You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future. You might stop the party, but you can't stop the future.
Because we were politically aware, we didn't want to get trapped by politics. Because if you fight politics with politics, it's fighting fire with fire.
Is on the way.
The best way to combat this was in a creative sense.
Me, I was doing backdrops.
Whole crew of people who'd spent, I don't know how much time painting the walls and making these little, each room was a different vibe.
We had quite a strong graphic that we worked hard at stickering London.
That people feel comfortable when they see something familiar. Take an area, a large empty warehouse, and to have these new symbols of what this free space represented, the more minimal the better.
SpiralTribe.
When you then saw the symbol again, it represented that. The message is in the music. And if it was successful, it represented that free space, fucking noise, you know?
And the name SpiralTribe was kind of resonating around parties.
And as I say, it just started from doing really small little squatted events that just became massive, huge, totally illegal parties with the police following us all around the countryside every weekend. And that ended up in Castle Moor where we all got arrested.
We got a telephone call from Bedlam. What are you doing, hiding in the forest, blah, blah, blah. So we jumped back in the buses and got in the trucks. We had a party there for a few days. We were surrounded by these police.
You hear this signal?
And they attacked us. It was meant to shake you up, to disturb you psychologically.
See what they're doing to us!
As well as physically. So we left from here. We were chased by a police helicopter out. And all the travellers and everybody just being chased around the country by the police. It turned out that there was a conspiracy to stop SpiralTribe doing what they were doing.
Has the operation gone as you expected?
Yes, I think so.
The chief superintendent pulled me aside on the steps. This person's not allowed to talk to me, and he just whispered in my ear. He said, I want you to understand this is nothing to do with us. This is a political stitch-up. They took the sound system, they took the trucks, they took everything we own. Seeing policemen waving and smiling, you know, it was a little bit sinister, really. We were charged with conspiracy. I mean, after they arrested us, we were 2 weeks on the steps of the police station, and we had a protest. 2 years that court case went on. It was one of the biggest court cases in this country ever. The jury found us innocent, all of us innocent of any crime. What have we done? We just turned up at a party.
What we discovered with SpiralTribe was by heading for the exit and seeing how far you could go, suddenly you realise how you're not free.
If I suspect that you've been involved in some of the offences that have occurred today,
Suddenly you're getting hounded out of the country by the police.
then you would be arrested.
Because you're talking about freedom, you know what I'm saying? And real freedom. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you in life gives you the biggest revelation. Repression is one of the motors of life, isn't it? You know what I mean? And this is how do we react to that? That's why if you live in a comfortable existence, you're less likely to feel that repression, which means you're less likely to move.
3 of us were living in my van, which is like this big, and then we had a little truck that was about this big, and we had all the rig in that, and then someone would like either live under the cab or in the cab. We were feeling, yeah, this music is so powerful, it's so amazing. You know, let's just take it as far as we can, let's just take it to as many places as we can. And then it all just kind of like took off.
J'ai rencontré à Berlin tout cela. D'abord, c'était Potsdamer-Platz. Camp Traveler, c'était entre les deux murs. Moins 17 dans un bus, la glace à l'intérieur, des vitres, pas grand-chose à manger, le feu au milieu de la neige pour se cuire et tout ça. On n'arrive même plus à ouvrir les portes parce que c'était glacé.
Criminal drug evasion. Criminal drug evasion.
La mission de départ quand ils étaient à Berlin, c'était partir sur la Russie. Ceux de la tribe qui étaient convoqués en Angleterre pour Castle Morton, c'était ceux qui voulaient partir sur la Russie. Ils sont plus ou moins pas revenus à ce moment-là. Et nous, pendant ce temps-là, on s'est organisé partir sur la Tchécoslovaquie et faire le premier technival en Tchèque. 250 km, 5 jours.
As you would imagine, it was just a very slow-moving, sort of like a big heavyweight convoy moving towards Czech Republic. And there's a real nice atmosphere in that part of the world because you're somewhere between east and west, you know. And so you had all this kind of nostalgic feeling of like the war and, you know, all this thing between communist and sort of Western thinking. It was powerful because, I mean, every truck we had in those days was a classic oldie, you know what I mean?
All the paperwork necessary to get into Czech with these planes, to do like a spectacle. One of the Mutoid trucks, you know, all on the back, giving out flowers and fire juggling and striding around town. And in the centre of Prague, we arrived there, you know, we can't set up here, there's houses everywhere. For Czech, you know, they'd never seen anything like that. You know, it was like just after the revolution.
We like the feeling of kind of being on the edge and being a bit more experimental. It was the same with the music. To be able to give the opportunity to have new music played. We were always accused of just playing noise, you know, which is great. Make some fucking noise, you know?
But the fact is you can't boil it down to SpiralTribe, you can't boil it down to Chicago acid music. What's that? That's life. That's the machine of existence.
You're making contact beyond politics, and it's very powerful, very strong community area that is stifled by this society.
What you're going through here is to inspire you, but after inspiration you need to work, and if you don't do the work you're going to go down the toilet, or you're going to get lost, because you're playing with heavy chemicals, you're playing with heavy vibes, you're in a free zone in Babylon.
Open your eyes and feel good.